Well, we wanted to start this episode off a little bit happier and more excited because it's the biggest weekend in motorsports and honoring those who've given up that ultimate sacrifice for their country for Memorial Day weekend with big race at Coke 600, the Indy 500, and the Bob Weikert Memorial. But before we kick things off, as we're recording this Thursday, it was news this morning. Kyle Busch was hospitalized with unknown conditions, unknown illness, and later, just recently, as we're recording this, he has passed away. Very, very shocking. Not anything I expected to ever record on here. Thoughts and prayers to the family, the whole NASCAR community. That's one of the most polarizing drivers in NASCAR history. You can love him, you can hate him, but at the end of the day, he's a human being, and he was one of the greatest to ever do it. But more to it, he was a father, he was a husband, and that's what you really got to feel for. And he was 41. They haven't released the cause of death right now. There's some rumors and speculation, but before we begin the episode, I want to just give a moment of silence, and then we'll get into an episode. Hopefully, we'll uplift some people's spirits today. So a moment of silence, and we'll get into our episode. Welcome back, everybody, to ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB Zach Brown, and joining me, as always, is former 410 Sprint Car crew chief and mechanic, my dad, Jeff Brown, as we broke the news just at the beginning of this. But now let's get into the excitement, the rant that I have already said I was going to do, but right after the All-Star race. And we're going to get right into it, and then we're going to preview the biggest weekend in motorsports, especially if you are also a dirt racing fan, because it is an enormous weekend. If you like all sorts of racing, you have the Indianapolis 500, you have Formula One, which is now in Canada as the Canadian Grand Prix. A little bit weirder, it's not Monaco.
And about the same time Indy runs.
Yeah, nobody's going to watch it. Everybody's going to watch Indy. I will. And then you have the Coke 600 at the same time, around the same time as the Coke 600, the Bob Weikert Memorial will be going on as well. So humongous race in sprint car racing. I believe that is $100,000 to win at Bob Weikert.
Yep.
One of the
race.
Yeah, but it's one of the 5 or 6 dirt races this year that are paying 6 figures. So that's a really big deal.
That's crazy.
High limit coming to town. Obviously, Larson's not coming, but pretty much every other high limit. I would assume Brad Sweet's going to run that car that he's been running, the one that's kind of Kyle Larson-esque.
Well, I would
for $100,000.
Yeah,
I'd be shocked if Paul Silva doesn't make the trip.
Being that Larson's car was just at Grandview, I would think they probably have Sweet's car in.
Yeah, Well, it's probably the same car. They just changed the wing. That's all they got to do. Yeah, I mean, there's so much money up for grabs this entire weekend, and the purse is huge. Great competition, and we'll preview that at the end. Rant first.
Yeah, kids leave the room.
So, anybody that has witnessed any of my TikTokers and stuff, I've already kind of talked about it, and here we go. And I'm going to keep it clean because I want this to be in a nice little short version, and so people can watch and enjoy, and they can turn on their TV without having to mute it in front of their kids. But what in the ever-living hell was that product that they called the All-Star Race at Dover, Delaware, at Dover Motor Speed? What the hell was that thing? It was not an All-Star Race. The whole week didn't even have any type of feeling of All-Star at all. It was crap. The product was bad. The format was terrible. Drivers didn't like it. It was awful. It was a Sunday afternoon in Dover. That's not an all-star race. At least when they changed it, when they went away from Charlotte, which I'll get in that in a second, they went to night races in Texas and North Wilkesboro. At least you kind of had a feel of an all-star race. There was pyrotechnics, explosions, fireworks, pre-race celebrations. I don't know. I'm glad that the CEO and the president, you have Brian France, I believe, he's out. Steve Phelps is out because hopefully they can have some new damn planning because whatever the hell that was garbage. That was absolute garbage. And I'm not talking about just even the race itself, which wasn't really good anyways, which was expected. Denny Hamlin's really, really good at Dover, Delaware. I don't know why I keep saying Delaware. Everybody knows it's in Delaware, but just Danny that was the shocker to knowing that he won. But it was a 200 lap finale after they did a open type of. They had everybody in the All-Star race, but after the first segment, certain people, it was so confusing. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. The only decent idea they had was inverting the field, but they somehow screwed all that up because they suck. NASCAR's dumb. I don't know why that person needs to be smacked in the face. Whoever planned that entire, let's have an all-star race at Dover. And then before that, you had a Friday afternoon, evening-ish truck race, and Saturday afternoon, O'Reilly race. That's just a normal damn weekend. Like, if you're doing an all-star week, you have to focus in on the all-stars. In every sport, even though, maybe not NFL, because, at least NFL does a week-long celebration of Pro Bowlers. They're dumb, but at least they do something to make it at least feel like a Pro Bowl. NBA, they're all-star. There's a dunk contest, three-point contest, all sorts of crap they do all week long, and it makes it feel like it's an all-star week, and it's fun for everybody, all the players. The NHL, I don't really know anything about that, so let's just skip that. I know there's an All-Star, and I know there's something about All-Star or whatever. But that was pathetic. That was absolutely pathetic. Just garbage, trash. Okay, I'm done with the rant. Do you have anything to add to the rant before I talk about what I have already suggested this week? If you follow my my TikTok, or the whole show's TikTok, I made a pretty cool post of what needs to happen. But anything you want to add on, I know you didn't get to see a lot because you were flying and stuff, but anything you want to add on about that whole fiasco?
No, I guess I lucked out. I didn't get to see any of it. It was so bad, I couldn't even bring it up on NASCAR's website. Nothing seemed to ever freaking work. I'm like, well, what the hell lap are we on? I don't know. The whole thing's weird. And they did that because they took away a point race for Dover. Yeah, it's stupid. It's just.
That's not where.
Dover doesn't even have lights. Showed up for it.
I like Dover. I like it as a regular race.
I like Dover, yeah.
But that's not an all-star race. It's not. Just because you have the banner that says all-star race, that don't give you any meaning to say it's an all-star race. That's not. All right. So, this is what needs to happen. And this is a shocker to no one, and everybody's already agreeing that I've seen everywhere. And I work at it. I work in the area too, and as much of a headache as it's going to be, this is where it needs to be. The All-Star race needs to come back to Charlotte. Period. No question about it. It needs to come back to Charlotte. Everybody else can shut the hell up about it. It needs to come back to Charlotte. I'm sorry. If it's not the greatest race, let's change the format. I got that in a second. You want it to have that entire week. You want it to be a spectacle. This is about the drivers and celebrating the drivers and having so much fun with it, and everybody just wants to relax and chill, and then you get to the race on Sunday, and then you race balls to the wall for $1 million. I don't know what's happening behind me. They're screaming downstairs. You want it to be one of the coolest events of the year, and it's give or take halfway-ish to the end of the season. It's a nice little halfway break, but they still get to have a lot of fun with the racing events. This is what I am proposing. Besides them just going back to Charlotte, if they wanted to make it a fun spectacle once again and the race actually a halfway decent-ass race, here's what they need to do. All right. So, you remember back in the day, and I'm talking to you and anybody else, when they used to do the pit crew challenges. Mm-hmm. That was always really, really cool. Bring that shit back. Like, that needs to come back. You celebrate the crews. They're a part of the all-star events, too. Bring that back. And if you want to set the qualifying order as a result of the pit crew challenge or whatever, that can possibly be part of it. Pit crew challenges come back. I say like on Thursday. That's like a Thursday night little prime time thing. They used to have it on. I think it used to be on like the Speed Channel. That's how long
Probably.
ago it was.
Well, they used to have it. It used to be part of like the actual pit stop with the car and the driver and the whole deal, and then they moved to a more, I guess, even format inside. I think Bojangles Coliseum in there, where it was a spec car and everything. But I liked it. Make your driver have to be part of it, get in and stop correctly, and the whole deal. That was the old pit crew challenge used to be awesome.
Yeah, so bring that back. That's
Yeah,
a huge part of it because you want to celebrate the teams just as much. They used to have the truck race on that Friday too. Get rid of that shit. This is all about the Cup Series and the All Stars. We don't need the truck race to be in the middle of it. That can be the next Friday night, right before the Coke 600. Make that a whole different weekend. Friday, you have qualifying, and I obviously change it up a little bit. I like 2 laps, and I do like how they kind of been doing the qualifying. They do 2 laps, and one of it, there's a mandatory pit stop in the middle of it, and then you take the cumulative of that, and whoever has the fastest, that sets the lineup for the All-Star race. And then you have the Open, which would be determined by draws, the starting lineup for the Open. Now the Open, I say it's one single race, one 50-lap shootout, one mandatory pit stop in it at any time, 4-tire pit stop. You have to take it at any time. The top 2 cars advance. The reason I say the top 2, here's what I wanted to add into this. And this would all determine if they were able to get rides for this based on there would be high probability they would get it. The previous year's Truck and O'Reilly champions are locked into the All-Star race. So they would be part of the All-Star qualifying as well.
I agree with that.
I think you have to honor those drivers because they are considered stars in NASCAR too. If you want to talk about all the stars, those are 2 of the stars. I think that's only right if they were able to get the charter for that. And it's not even about charters. This is the All-Star race, so just get a ride and then you get to go in.
Well, let's face it. The champion is going to be affiliated with a Cup team in some way, whether it's Truck or O'Reilly Series.
Yeah.
Last year's champion Jesse Love, Richard Childress.
Exactly. So, do that.
Yeah,
I like that, and you're still going to have the fan vote. The eligibility for the drivers, it's going to be pretty much the same as it always been. The winners from the previous year and the current year are all locked in. Any current full-time driver in the Cup Series that has been a Cup champion is also locked in.
Okay.
And any prior All-Star champions that are also full-time drivers. Which it would be around 25 to 30 max of drivers anyways. And you can have 30 to 40 if you needed to have a full field because it is a mile and a half. So it's not like, say that's how many people made it, it wouldn't be that bad because like Wilkesboro, that's hard to have. I mean, they're going to have a points race, but it's a little harder to have 36 to 40 people, 40 drivers in one small little thing. But a mile and a half, Charlotte's pretty big. That's the format to just like get in to have the basics of it. Now the actual All-Star race format, I got to remember to put this all on the board with the graphics and stuff. So there's 3 segments. 75 laps first segment, invert the field. 75 laps the second segment, average finish between the 2 determines the lineup for a 50-lap shootout. Each segment has a mandatory 4-tire pit stop in each one. Rules package. We don't do limits on horsepower because that's stupid.
Like
Get
Tony
rid of that.
Stewart said, put the balls back on the car.
Yeah, Tony Stewart's reference. I guess you've seen that too. So it's a 358 cubic inch engine. Whatever you make from it, that's you.
Run it.
And then it's the All-Star race. There's nothing better than to test it out and see how it runs. Run them suckers,
exactly.
And I bet it is the hell of a race package. And with this car, which has shown that it's good on mile and a half tracks, I'd say unlimited, they'll top out around 900, I would say.
We're talking
But
about
have
Steve Horsepower
them
with
like
two
that
wins.
around with this car around Charlotte, I think that would be a really, really good test and really good race.
Yeah, I agree.
Is there anything that you would like to add into a format like that? You would like to see specifically in an all-star race? I think I kind of hit the nail on all of them.
No, I think that's pretty good. Good. I didn't know you were going to say about the truck champion and the rally champion. That was going to be the one thing I would have added. But yeah, I agree with that completely.
Yeah, and you gotta get, like I said, gives them the opportunity if sometimes they don't even get that many opportunities. This is one where it wouldn't affect points or anything. It would add a lot of excitement to the sport, and if they listen to any of these other podcasts with like Tony Stewart and stuff, this is a chance so you can start redeeming yourself. And if this goes well like that, bring some rules packages to the real races, and that's mainly the horsepower one. I Again, it has to be a spectacle. It has to be. It has to be a special week, and all
And
the drivers
they
are
need to
home
make the
anyways.
tickets
You don't
cheap
worry.
enough.
Yeah, you don't worry about. You're not worrying about points. You're not worrying about any of that. You're worried about just getting the million. Oh, I did want to add this. If each winner of each segment gets $50,000. Well, the
Okay.
first two segments, and then the million is
Sure.
the final segment. But I think that's also a good incentive to actually not just cruise, because you'd see that too. Um, it would get rid of the garbage that we just saw this weekend, whatever that was, and they would bring it back home. It would be a 2 week special time of the year where it's all back home in Charlotte, where most of these teams operate in the vicinity. Probably about 98% of the teams are in the area of Charlotte, which is Concord. Sorry about it, it's our speedway. It gets a little salty, but that's our speedway. Yeah, there's my all-star.
I did think of one thing. Okay, at the end of every segment, because at some point the fans want the field inverted.
Well, I said that.
Yeah, well, the last four, I'm just going to say four. You finish the last four in the first segment, you're out. No more.
Oh, like elimination type thing.
Yep. Yep. Just that way, you can't be sitting there running around the back.
Wait, here's the thing. You know how long it took me to figure this out? Maybe 10 minutes. NASCAR tries to work on this with like yearly meetings. This isn't hard. This is not hard to figure out. And the hardest thing to figure out
formats before. It's not like
no.
Everybody else wants to reboot the same shit all the time. NASCAR reboot the same shit all the time. Let's bring it back the way it used to be.
Do you know how many tickets would sell if you could? So I'm gonna put a promo on the screen, and it's on my TikTok if you guys followed it on there. And this is what they could use somewhat like it, and it would sell out like that.
Yeah, and don't make the tickets crazy expensive. Make it cheap. Kids get in free. You're going to drop $100 in there on hot dogs and cokes and beers and stuff like that. Get the people in the stands.
Well,
get the drivers to do autograph sessions without having to buy a damn die cast to get their autograph. This is where NHRA is doing way better for the fans.
Well, here's the little promo that I came up with, and it's using AI, of course, but took 5 seconds for me to develop it. So NASCAR put a little bit of damn effort into your lives. So here you go. All right. So moving on. Which one do you want to look ahead first? You want to do Coke, or do you want to do the Indy stuff first?
Just stick with NASCAR.
Okay. So the Coca-Cola 600, the longest race by mileage in all of motorsports. Don't quote me on that. There might be some random like I don't know, you ride a camel somewhere across the
Yeah, I
Sahara.
mean, we're not talking about the Baja
Yeah.
1000.
So and it is a really big spectacle. They've done better job with pre-race things there. This is going to be a huge event. It is part of the America 250 sporting events that they've had throughout the year. Obviously, starting off with the Super Bowl, and they're moving on throughout a bunch of things. You got the MMA, the UFC fight at the White House next month, and this is just one of the next sporting events that's a part of it. Uh, Possibly somebody important is going to be in town to at least see the. I think it's going to be the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. I don't know if I doubt the president or vice president are going to be there. I don't know. God, I hope not, because that's going to give me a damn headache to do all that. Because I have to probably escort them or something, and just Secret Service. They can be headaches sometimes. The one thing I did make too is bring this sucker back. So that's the World 600, the original 600. And Dale Jr.'s been very adamant of bringing back the World 600. Doesn't mean you have to lose your sponsorship. Just call it the World 600. You say the World 600 presented by Coca-Cola if you need to.
Yeah.
But this is kind of like how when they went from the Brickyard 400 to the I think it was like the Crown Royal 400 at the Brickyard or something, or the.
Well, I mean, it's still called the Daytona 500, but
Exactly,
it's
exactly.
somebody's.
I think Crown Jewel races need to just have that name.
Yep.
And, like the Indianapolis 500, they don't say the Pampers 500 at Indy. I mean, it's the Indianapolis 500. So, yeah, I just thought that came out of my ass right there. I don't know where that came from, but the World 600 would be really cool. And I used the old logo that I found and modernized it to make it the World 600. And then I also did this one, which is Memorial Day-esque, which is red, white, and blue. Kind of, Jesus, gives off those vibes too. So you can use either one of them because it is still Memorial Day weekend. It is about honoring those who have served, giving up the ultimate sacrifice, of course. And that's also celebrating with motorsports. That's what's really cool about it. Humpy Wheeler always did an amazing job with that. And, yeah. One thing I want to say, and you can add on to this, what was I going to say? Shit. Oh, it's going to be cooler temperatures this weekend, so it's going to cool off starting tomorrow. There's been rain. It's going to be a green racetrack. I think there's going to be a lot of grip on the racetrack, especially, the Coke 600 is going to be at nighttime, so there's going to be, you have the transition, but I think it's going to be an easier transition because of the cooler temperatures. Usually, it's been hot, but now it's finally cooling down. I think that will play a factor into this race.
Good. I mean, it's going to be nicer for the fans. We've been there a couple of times where you're boiling during the day, and then the sun goes down, then you get chilly and everything else. So
I expect a lot of clouds. They say scattered thunderstorms and stuff. So and we've needed rain. Just hopefully it holds off for all the racing events. But I think a lot of clouds, and that usually bodes pretty well for some good racing. And they've got some good grip in the track. Yeah.
Now with a green track, tire wear could change early, and then probably get better as the track takes rubber. So that could be. That could be quite interesting when your car's probably going to handle different when that track rubbers up. So you got to stay on top of it. One thing used to be the 600 used to be like really hard on engines, and now since Tony Stewart says they cut the balls off the things, they just don't have any trouble.
No.
Nitro wants to make sure
picks.
everybody knows he's on.
Well, I guess that means he wants to give the picks for fantasy this week. So obviously fantasy wasn't last week. You're still in the lead in NASCAR fantasy this year. Let's see if you can keep it rolling. So go ahead with since you're still the leader, go ahead with your NASCAR fantasy lineup for the Coca-Cola 600.
Okay, hold on. I got to cat make sure he's not getting any attention. The poor thing. All right, so here we go. We're taking low hanging fruit on this one again. So. I think Toyotas are going to be fast. I have Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe, Carson Hocevar, Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, and in the garage is William Byron. My featured matchups. I have Denny Hamlin over Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell over Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace over Brad Kay, and Tyler Reddick over William Byron. I told you I was Toyota heavy on this one.
Yeah, so I'll give you my lineup. It's similar to yours, but I also want to caution people. The Coke 600 has a lot of, I would say, sleeper picks.
Underdog winners, probably.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, and rarely, and I'm going to also put this there too. Rarely do you see back-to-back winners in the Coke 600. I don't think it's been done since maybe Denny or even back to Jimmy Johnson.
Could be.
Last year's winner was Ross Chastain, just to keep everybody in the midst about that. But my lineup is William Byron. He's got to be due for a good race, and he was solid at Dover. He's due for a good race. Ross Chastain. I've got to go with previous winner, so I got to throw that in there. Why not? And here's the shocker: Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Ty Gibbs, and in my garage I have Chase Elliott. And the matchups this week: Denny Hamlin versus Ryan Blaney. I have Denny. Christopher Bell over Larson. You ain't gonna see me jinx shit this weekend. Christopher Bell. Maybe Larson will have better luck. Not that he's not running the double. Brad Keselowski versus Bubba Wallace. I do have Brad K on this one. For some reason I like Brad K on this. And William Byron versus Tyler Reddick. I have Tyler Reddick in that. So, with all that being said, who is your race winner for the Coke 600?
So I don't think it's going to be a repeat winner from last year. So I'm sticking Toyota. I'm going to do Chase Briscoe. Gets the 600 this time. Mom's pick is William Byron.
So so you're using the logic of somebody you might not exactly think of to win these big crown jewels. I'm using the same logic. He's a winner this year. He won his first race ever this year and was at Bristol. I think this is one that you might want to keep your eyes on. I have Ty Gibbs to win the Coca-Cola 600.
He is in my lineup.
Yeah, and mine too. So we'll see what happens in the Coke 600. All right, so staying on asphalt, and then we'll end with the Bob Weikert. The Indianapolis 500, we were there 2 years ago. This is actually signed by Tony Stewart, if anybody was wondering. I think they say it's the biggest spectacle in all of motorsports, and it is. It is
that ain't no shit either.
And
after being there,
so the population there in that specific small little town that they have will be over 350,000, which is more than like Pittsburgh, and I saw other cities, and I don't remember which ones, but yeah, it's one of the most populated cities in, I think the second most populated city in Indiana once they come to town.
On race day.
Yep. I want to always shout out to the people that get people in and out of those parking lots because they do a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And Charlotte can't figure shit out for some reason. We have about 50,000. So I don't know how Indy does it. They do a fantastic, amazing job. I mean, Talladega was even a struggle to get out. And, I mean, it's...
Well, the one thing in Indy, wherever you go out, you're going whatever direction they tell you. You have no choice.
But as long as you hit the road, you'll find your way out.
Yeah,
It'll get you out.
Like
It'll follow you
you'll
out.
turn around somewhere else, but it ain't going to be there.
It's been interesting, to say the least, in the last couple of weeks between practices and qualifying. The final practice, there was a huge pileup affecting a few of the cars in the field.
Yeah, Alexander Rossi.
Who was scheduled to start second.
Finger or something like that, or his hand, or...
Yeah. So that is interesting. Something to keep your eyes on. Catherine Legg is trying to do the double. I forgot to mention that too. But I mean, if she wins that, I will donate a kidney.
Yeah. Honestly, she didn't qualify that bad. I thought it'd be way worse than that.
This is out the defending winner, who we never thought that he would actually win on this. We thought he was better just on road courses and street courses and stuff, but Alex Pallot's been amazing on every.
Yeah, he's kind of
just
good.
Hooked up. Expect Penske's to be good as always at Indy.
We were watching qualifying, and I don't remember which one it was. At Newgarden, just the thing had no speed. Like he was wide open the whole time. But that thing's going to race good.
Yeah,
it's got that much downforce.
It'll be interesting. This is another one. There's going to be a lot of cloud coverage. It's I looked at the weather there. It's going to be nice and cool.
Yeah, especially Indiana. That's a weird weather out there.
Yeah, I think it'll be. I think you have a lot of grip, and there's going to be people taking chances. And when you take chances in IndyCar, it doesn't always work too well because you can't really go bumper on them because there is no bumper.
No.
You can't really get anybody out of the way. So I'd like to see some risks, and it goes by really quick, especially if you're there. It goes by very damn fast. It's really cool.
It goes real fast.
If anybody ever has a chance in their lifetime to go see it, it is absolutely amazing. It really is incredible to see. Well, let's just give our pick for the Indianapolis 500. I don't really have anything more I can say about that because it's just you just have to see it to really experience it. It's still cool on TV. This year is on Fox for the first time, maybe ever. I don't know if ever, but
I don't know.
they have the double. Well, actually, Fox does not have the double because it's on Prime this weekend in NASCAR. Thank God it's on Prime in NASCAR. Everybody's bitching and moaning. I'm like, you guys can get a free trial for a month and then you can cancel it. All right, stop bitching. All right, there we go. There's that. So who's your pick to win the Indianapolis 500?
So I was thinking about that, and one of my favorite drivers is this guy, sort of driving coach and mentor, and he's all-time fan favorite out there. I'm going to go with Pato O'Ward in the Arrow McLaren car.
Tony Kanaan.
Yeah. Everybody likes Tony Kanaan. He just seems like such a good guy. And
well, this guy, he's proven that he drives really well at Indy, and he kind of comes out of nowhere randomly. He's lining up 5th in this race, and if you know me, you got some gabagool. You got, damn it. Let me make sure he's starting 5th. Make sure I'm not. Yeah. So starting 5th, and I think he can get his win. I don't even know if he's ever won in the IndyCar series yet. He's come close. I know he's got 2nd a few times.
Yeah, I don't know if he did or not. I know you're talking about.
And somehow he's not Italian. He's American. Car, right? He's not even like Italian American, like from like the inner city of New York, just some normal accent. But you got some Santino Ferrucci for the win.
I think that's an AJ Foyt car, if I'm not mistaken.
He qualified well. He's looked really well this week. This last couple of weeks. I'd like to see him win. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Oh, that would be cool. I'll root for him.
All right. Finally, the Bob Weikert Memorial. One of the biggest dirt races that there will be this year, especially in Pennsylvania. And
Bob
Weikert. Bob Weikert worked with Pop worked with him for a while. And just so many incredible cars since from the 70s, 80s, and 90s on up. And you're going to see the special paint scheme that Double D is going to have this weekend. It's a really cool thing that they're doing. It's $100,000 a win, and High Limit's coming to town. A lot of awesome talent. The Bob Weikert Memorial has really blown up in the past, I would say, decade to how immense of a race it is.
Yeah. I'm wondering, if we're going to see any Outlaws make the tail. I'm not sure where they're at Saturday night, but for $100,000, you might see those guys haul ass in the middle of the night to get there. It's at Port Royal Speedway, which is
I could see like David Gravel and those ones. I mean, where are they racing at on Saturday? The Outlaws.
I'm not sure where they're at.
I remember last year they made the haul, and a lot of them showed up on Sunday. But I know there's some.
Because they're allowed to run a certain amount of,
Well, I'd fully expect some out. Like 100,000, they have to allow them to race in that. I mean, it's too big of a winning purse to
Let's see where we're at here. It is. Nope, they race Sunday.
They race on Sunday?
At Huset's.
Oh, well, I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yep, it's the World of Outlaws Stars and Stripes Salute at well, they have it at Knoxville on Saturday and then Huset's on Sunday.
That's kind of a shame. But
they did that so these guys don't come in to run the High Limit race.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's kind of a dick move. High Limit was off and let them run Eldora and stuff.
Exactly. Well, all right, whatever. I mean, better chance for the PA Posse to possibly come out with a win. Grandview, the race was decent. The track sucked until you got to the feature. The feature was actually a pretty decent race, and the track looked all right.
It finally widened out. It got real good there between Reitzel and Rico. Rico had him passed, and then the red flag came out.
Yeah, that caused...
Once there was no live traffic.
Yeah.
Reitzel probably made a couple of adjustments and moved his line, and that
Yeah,
was
and then hopefully Casey doesn't destroy his owned car
yeah.
again this week. Since Casey's winning that Macri car, though, he's looked really good. That
That
Macri
car's
car's got a
fast.
good setup. So,
Yeah,
um, well,
that car knows how to get around Port Royal.
well, let's do a pick for Weikert. We don't do a lot of picks for between dirt and really Indy anymore. We like to just like kind of process what happened, but and there's no fantasy or anything like that. But I always like for special races like this to give a pick. So, who do you like in the Bob Weikert Memorial?
So we're gonna keep it in Pennsylvania. I'm gonna go with the winningest driver, 410 sprint driver in the country, Chase Dietz.
Yeah,
Brings home the 100,000.
how about that? Like that, he's been very good this
He's
year.
fat. I mean, it don't matter if it's outlaws, high limit, local races. That thing's quick all the time.
You know, screw it. I'm sticking in Pennsylvania too, and I'm going to go with the second winningest driver at Port Royal history. I'm going with Lance DeWeese to pull
Okay.
up a major upset, turn back the clock, and win the Bob Weikert Memorial.
Is it weird that would be a major upset? Lance DeWeese with 120.
I think any PA
wins?
posse beating high limit at Weikert for 100,000 would be considered a major upset.
It all comes down to having a good draw and a good time trial, and you're gonna have to be in the dash.
Yep.
I mean, you're not gonna win outside the dash.
We'll see
Most
what happens. We'll make sure you guys tune in every Friday and enjoy this weekend and have some fun. Again, tragic news out of NASCAR this week, but hopefully a little bit of what we said this week will bring some light and some fun to a very difficult time in the NASCAR community. Oh, real quick, Austin Hill is replacing Kyle Busch in that car. That was confirmed before the tragic news was even
Okay.
broken. But
I mean that kind of makes.
I
sense.
don't know. I'll be honest. I don't even know if they're even going to field that car now. So
Yeah, I mean it's
we'll see.
unfortunately the world doesn't stop. They didn't stop for Dale. I mean it's
Well, they might. Yeah, that's true. So we'll see what happens. But
racers race. Unfortunatately, it's kind of
well,
it's kind of how we do it.
I'm gonna go get to these crazy minions downstairs. So see everybody next week, and probably have a lot to talk about next week too.
All right, bye everybody.